Have written the idea that women were oppressed throughout history is an appalling theory. They haven't had a great time though, have they?
Who has had a great time in history?
But men have had less of a...
Really? Have they? By what standard?
Well, I'm just saying if you're a woman...
How about war?
Yeah, but it took longer for women to get the vote, and women belong to their husbands. It's like, aren't there some clearly obvious things that...
There are inequalities in the catastrophes that the genders are subject to. Everybody had it rough. You say, well, did men or women have it worse? It's like, well... That's a complicated question, but one of the things you can say is everybody had it pretty damn bad.
Jordan Peterson is widely regarded as one of the sharpest debaters alive, known for his mastery of logic and facts. He's unafraid to challenge others and often leaves his opponents stumbling. In today's video, we'll explore moments where Peterson completely dismantled woke arguments. Grab some...
You cited freedom of speech in that. Why should your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Snacks and enjoy. The idea of a right not to be offended is laughable. Are people just inventing laws now?
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. You know, like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that?
So you haven't sat there and... I'm just trying to work that out. I mean...
Ha, gotcha.
You have got me.
Well, Peterson's response is brilliant. Typically, interviewers come prepared with pre-scripted questions, but they often lack a solid understanding of what they're even asking. It's no...
I'm interested in people being able to have different choices and having equality of outcome.
Aha, well, so you're going to have choices and equality of outcome. What if people choose different things, which is what they've been doing in Scandinavia? What about bricklayers? They're 99% male, and men work longer hours. They're more likely to move. They're more likely to work outside. They're more likely to participate in jobs in the STEM fields that are scalable. They make more money for those reasons, and that's all hidden under the idea that the reason that men and women make different amounts of money is because of their gender. It's a very simplistic analysis.
Surprised they frequently get caught in their own logic. Peterson argues that equality of outcome is impossible. Men and women tend to choose...
Right, so you're saying that anyone who believes in equality, whether you call them feminists, call them whatever you want to call them, should basically give up because it ain't gonna happen.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I didn't say that women shouldn't be striving for the top or anything like that, because I don't believe that for a second.
Striving for the top, but you're going to put all those hurdles in their way, as has been in their way for centuries, and that's fine. You're saying that's fine.
No, I really
the
think
patriarchal system
really
is just
that's
fine.
Silly. I do. I think that's silly.
Successful women, though, basically have to wear the trousers, in your view. They have to sort of become men to succeed, is what you're saying.
Certainly, masculine traits are going to be helpful. If you're going to be successful, you need to be smart, conscientious, and tough.
Well, here's a radical idea. Why don't the bosses adopt some female traits so that women don't have to fight and get their sharp elbows out for the pay rises? It's just accepted if they're doing the same job, they get the same pay.
The market sets the damn game. It's like...
And the market is dominated by men.
No, it's
So what
not.
I'm
It's
asking
not.
you-
The market is dominated by women. They make 80% of the consumer decisions. That's not the case at all.
different careers, so expecting identical results is unreasonable. However, some interviewers just don't get it. One in particular fails...
You said you were a doctor. Oh,
I'm a psychologist, actually.
okay. Is that what you do for, a living?
Mostly I lecture publicly and write. I'm an author.
Okay. So you're like Hillary Clinton, where you get paid to, go places.
I'm more physically attractive than Hillary.
So miserably, she gets called out multiple times during the same conversation. Cringeworthy, right?
I just had to
Peterson
throw that one
isn't
in
just
there.
intelligent, he's also witty and
but also
charismatic.
funny
In
and
one debate,
charismatic.
he's
But
so
in
they're losing. The concept of equality of outcome often assumes that one group should occupy all the desirable positions while leaving less appealing jobs to others, right?
You know how I stopped getting protesters to my events at university? I held them in the morning.
That's great.
I'm the Messiah. Yeah, really? Well, as long as you don't want me to get out of bed before noon.
Watching Jordan Peterson debate is both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Most of the data in all of the countries, come up to that conclusion that a woman who has the same position as a man.
Women and men who do the same job, the women end up getting paid less?
Yes.
And you control for everything else? No, sorry, the data's wrong. There's at least 16 reasons. Men work longer hours. If you work 10% longer hours, you make 40% more money. Men work in more dangerous positions. So there's a wage advantage for working in more dangerous positions.
You're saying that there were many different points that explain why we come up to that final statistic, but that if you look at the reasons why, then it's because men work longer, more than women, and
They work in more dangerous positions, they're more likely to work outside.
I'll take him.
Provoking. Whether he's exposing flawed logic, dismantling weak arguments, or injecting humor into serious discussions, it's clear why he's such a polarizing yet respected figure. Prepare for
If you look and you say, well, on average, women make less money than men, which is also different than saying that they make less for doing the same work, because those aren't the same claims, then you have to say, well, what are the reasons that are contributing to that? You can't just say, well, it's a consequence of gender discrimination, unless you can only think about one thing at a time. And I would say that's another problem with the modern feminist. They can only think about one thing at a time.
Moments that will make you laugh, think, and cringe at the same time. Let them sleep in while we're out here being productive. That's the difference.
You said that, and I'm really like not trying to paraphrase you or to put words into your mouth.
You are trying that directly.
It is things that you said that you cannot deal with those.
Yes, but don't tell me that you're not trying to put words into my mouth. What is the purpose precisely?
I am quoting things that you said.
Why? What is it that you're trying to establish?
Because you said them.
I thought we were talking about masculinity.
We are.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
How are we talking about masculinity?
Because I'm asking you what you think of men and of women.
No, basically what you've been trying to do, I would say for the last 15 minutes, is put me into a sequence of corners by accusing me of various forms of misbehavior. So why are we doing that? What's the point here?
These are things that you said. My job as a journalist is to ask questions about what you represent and the ideas that you defend.
Your job is also to select the things that you might ask about in some manner that doesn't indicate a substantive bias. You picked 3 things to talk to me about in the last 20 minutes that were very carefully selected. Like, why did you pick those things?
Because this is my job.
No, not necessarily. You could be asking me, for example, why I've spoken to 250,000 people live in the last 8 months. That might be more newsworthy.
Well, we're not going to have a big debate about journalism, but if a journalist doesn't ask the tough questions, how can you give the good answers?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
But it depends on what the tough questions are. It depends on
I didn't think that they would be tough. We're talking about things that you said. I mean...
Now, I won't interrupt too much here, but I want to take a moment to appreciate this reporter for actually listening and consider.
If you hire 50% women engineers and 50% male engineers, then the women engineers are less qualified because the pool of engineers is lower among women. So you can't hire 50% women engineers without producing a decrement in the quality of the engineers.
Well, in Iceland, an energy company was about to go bankrupt. A new manager came in and said, okay, we've got to throw everything out and start again, and made a conscious decision based on his belief that it's a human right that men and women are paid equally. And so went out of his way to make the workforce within that company 50-50. So we're talking about engineers, we're talking about tradespeople, and they certainly argue that they're not hiring second-rate women.
They might argue that, but if you did it on a large scale, that's what would happen. Because look, you think about it mathematically. If there's 10 times as many male engineers as there are female engineers, then obviously the degree to which the female engineers are proficient cannot be the same as the degree to which the male engineers are proficient. It's mathematically impossible.
So you're saying don't even...
Considering Jordan Peterson's points. It's refreshing compared to others we've seen in this video who clearly
Basically give up because it ain't gonna happen.
weren't paying attention. Now,
no, I'm saying something much more specific than that. Now, one company might be able to do that for a short period of time in one isolated location. But there, of course, if you have a new manager come in and he's doing all sorts of new things, there's 50 reasons why the company is going to fail or succeed. And you can say, well, it was because of the gender equity policies. It's like, yeah, well, it's a multivariate problem.
this is where the interview really heats up. At this point, you can tell Jordan is getting frustrated, and in the next clip, he's had enough. Honestly, he delivers a solid response here. I can't lie. But I'm more interested in hearing your thoughts. Who do you think won this debate? What's going on with these interviews? It's like they keep circling back to the same tired arguments. One interviewer even repeated a misinterpretation of Jordan's points. It's not what he's saying at all. At the end of the day, some questions simply don't have clear answers. No one truly knows what drives the success of a company or individual. If you agree, check out more of the content on screen, and I'll catch you in the next one.